But you don't look autistic. Has someone said this or something similar to you? Hi, I'm Phil, a late diagnosed autistic older adult, and it's my goal to help raise awareness about autism and help late diagnosed autistic adults accept and embrace their awesomeness. In this video, I want to take a look at whether I think I look autistic and indeed whether autism even has a look. We will also talk about how late diagnosed autistic adults may face this denial from often well-meaning people and the effect that that denial can have on us. But you don't look autistic. Now, I must admit I don't think anyone has actually said this to me, but I know many late identified autistic adults have experienced this, so let's chat about it. What I can say is that I've seen in some people's eyes when I've disclosed my autism to them that they were either confused or sceptical. Likewise, other responses might be along the lines of, "You must be very high functioning," or "I would have never guessed it." The fact is that most people don't have a response in their internal database of conversation responses for this particular revelation. So for me at least, I don't judge a person on their initial response. Okay, so do most people think I look autistic? Well, the answer here is mostly no. I say mostly because when I revealed my diagnosis to some people who know me well, they were not surprised. But in general, if I met you in the street, you would probably not think I look autistic. So do I think I look autistic? Again, here the answer is probably not. This is for several reasons. As autistic people, we have lived our entire lives knowing that we struggle in certain situations, often involving being around other people. And for most of us, we have also learned strategies to compensate for this by copying how other people interact with each other, even though these strategies don't come naturally to us. This can include forcing eye contact, memorising small talk, trying to make jokes like other people, or mimicking body language and facial gestures. And sometimes we get it wrong, which might be interpreted by other people as quirkiness, awkwardness, or the autistic person being rude, abrupt, or insensitive. But because we don't always get it wrong, us being autistic is not often considered by others. This copying is a part of masking that most autistic people do to fit in, but we will come back to that a bit later. So if I don't look autistic, does that mean I'm only a little bit autistic? No. The whole notion that someone might be a little bit autistic while someone else might be very autistic is a misunderstanding of what autism really is. It is actually very simple. You're either autistic or you're not autistic. There is no spectrum of being a little bit autistic at one end and very autistic at the other end. What does vary, however, is how impacted the autistic person might be due to the combination of traits they experience as part of their autism. Someone who is more highly impacted is said to have higher support needs. And just a point of clarification here, all autistic people, despite how normal they might appear, do need daily support. For more on what the autism spectrum actually is and a more detailed explanation of support needs, please refer to part 2 of my Introduction to Autism video. I'll leave a link in the video description. So why is it problematic to talk about whether someone looks autistic? Well, the question raises the immediate point of what does autism look like? And the answer to that question is that autism does not have a look. Autistic people are as varied and diverse as the rest of the population, so we all look different from each other. There is no single visual characteristic that sets autistic people apart. Now, this fact may cause an issue for the parents of autistic children or adults who are severely autistic. Believe me when I say I understand that parents of many autistic children and adults have a really tough time. This can be particularly the case with level 3 support needs autistic people. What this means is that the autistic child or adult has very substantial daily support needs. This may be because there are co-occurring conditions like intellectual or learning disabilities. Also, as we mentioned earlier, may be due to the level of impact that autistic traits may have on the individual. But this can also be caused by other factors in the autistic person's life which can impact the level of support that is needed. And the level of support needed can fluctuate from day to day. In my case, as a level 2 or needs substantial support autistic person, depending on what other things are happening in my life, can mean I might appear to function with very little support one day, but the next day I may require very substantial or level 3 support. So the parents of an autistic person who constantly has level 3 support needs could look at someone like me and not understand how I could be autistic, since their child looks so different to me. This may lead someone to doubt my autism, or worse still, dismiss it entirely. Now, I totally understand that these parents who day in and day out do the absolute best for their autistic child or adult may themselves be constantly exhausted or burnt out because of this endless devotion. But from their perspective, autism looks like their child, so it may be difficult to see someone who apparently looks like they function so well also claim that label. Now, I get that. I'm in awe of these people and the love and devotion they show to their autistic family member. But how does it affect me if someone denies my autism because I don't look like their autistic family member? Okay, so the first thing you need to understand here is that autistic people really struggle with the concept of being perceived. So being aware that someone else is scrutinising us and judging whether we are autistic enough is an intensely horrible feeling. Also, what I look like to someone who does not know me is often not representative of what is going on the inside. Many autistic people learn through our lives how to appear like everyone else in order to fit in and go undetected in a world that views autistic people as something quirky, weird, slow, or in some way less than the neurotypical norm. As mentioned earlier, this is called masking. And for many autistic people, it is a survival technique. But masking comes at a cost. It is tiring, and along the way, our real selves can get lost or buried. Imagine hanging off a cliff by your fingertips or treading water in the ocean after your boat sinks. You do what you can to survive, but it's not easy. That's what masking can be like. If someone looks at the masked version of me, what they don't get to see is the near panic I can experience in a crowded place, the routines I need to create to be able to function, the ways that I might secretly stim to maintain an outwardly calm appearance, the times I might injure myself either through stimming or when I get overwhelmed and melt down, or when I might have disappeared because I have shut down because of a similar overwhelm, or the difficulty I find in working in paid employment and the financial impact that has, or lost relationships, and so many more other seemingly insignificant things. So for someone to dismiss all of that, even if it is done out of ignorance or to protect the status of the autistic person in their life, it is actually pretty demeaning. So why do people in general often get this wrong? Well, the truth is that very few people actually understand what autism really is. This has a bit to do with the stereotypes that have been portrayed through movies and TV shows over many decades. These caricatures of autism become the picture for most people, which creates a very small box in the wider world's understanding. This is such a shame because autistic people are a hugely diverse group with many varying traits. No two autistic people have the same experience. Now, I think some of the movies and TV shows are starting to get this representation better, particularly when they use autistic actors or advisors. But some still get it wrong. Now, also, to be completely honest here, I was just as ignorant as everybody else up until not that long before my diagnosis. And this in itself is a huge problem, because this ignorance also kept me from understanding the true diversity of the autistic experience, and thus from understanding that I am part of that diverse community. This meant I missed out on the opportunity of self-understanding and self-acceptance for more than 56 years. For other undiagnosed autistic adults, this might mean 70, 80 or 90 years without the relief of that understanding. The good news is that this understanding is now possible for the millions of undiagnosed adults out there, both through better medical and diagnostic practices, but also through the wealth of great information building on the internet and the access that is now possible through videos like this and many others. So if someone confides in you that they are autistic, please be honoured that they have chosen to share this most intimate detail of their life with you. And be aware that this disclosure can be a very big deal for the autistic person. If you're not autistic and have made it this far through the video, I really want to thank you for being someone who is prepared to make a difference in this world by being open to learn about autism and the autistic people around you know about and those you don't. Likewise, if you are someone who has said, "But you don't look autistic," to someone in your life, don't despair. We all make mistakes, but it's what you do next that really counts. Okay, so that's it for now. Please like, subscribe and share for more videos about autistic life. Thanks for watching. See you next time.